truck, and I had to pick up, I couldn't find it until later in the evening.
It's working.
Okay, it's working. Cool. I didn't want to tell them the rest anyways.
But then, like, your differential broke and you rolled down the mountain and all the logs came out and they fired you.
No, that is not.
Pretty sure that's what happened.
Pretty sure that's not.
Okay. For the 5th time in a row. Yeah. All right. Hey, guys. It would not be a live stream if we didn't have audio issues. I feel like that's kind of just part of it. And I don't know what the problem was because I didn't really do anything. I just took it off and put it back on. Kind of similar to what I do here. So, yes, Deskmini GTX. Greatest platform ever. And I'm going to build a live streaming computer. And it's possible because this little guy has a GPU, which you really do need in this day and age for video encoding. And it has, obviously, a CPU. Kind of need that. And I'm using Intel QuickSync as well, so that's great. Has some RAM. But this is what is so awesome about this board, is the fact that it has way more expansion opportunities than the highest end ITX board. We have here 2 Ultra M.2 PCI Express expansion slots. You have M.2 Wi-Fi. I don't know what standard that is. I'm just going to use the Wi-Fi that's included. Doesn't really matter to me. And then right here, I believe this is a SATA port. So that is a ridiculous amount of expandability for just a teeny tiny little motherboard, which is awesome. So what's that have to do with the S4T? Well, I'm actually not going to build in the S4T today. This is something that is older hardware, still completely relevant for what I'm going to do for it, but I do need to sell some of this stuff to recruit my R&D. This particular thing is not necessarily going to be sold, but it's going to be repurposed for charity purposes for a church so they can do some live streaming now that we're all locked down due to Mr. Corona, or Miss Corona, or Mrs. Corona. So I'm going to be using the actual case that comes with this incredible product. If you like this product, I get 0 money for promoting it, period, but please go buy them. I want them to sell completely out because I want them to make more of them. And you can buy this entire kit, not with the CPU, not with the RAM, but with the desktop GTX 1060 and this board for like $600 on Newegg. And I think they were having a bundle to include some RAM, actually. I'm not sure, but buy this because it's really cool. The only thing is, if you wanted to use it in an S4T and have a power supply in the front, which you might not want to do, to be aware of is that there's no onboard power header. So all the power has to come from the 4-pin Ki-Con jack in the back. Whereas the newer versions of these boards do have a 2-pin power header on them. So you could actually run an internal power supply. Anyway, the card I'm going to be using, the capture card, is this itty bitty tiny PCI Express card with 2 breakout HDMI. This is from Magewell. Magewell makes, in my opinion, some of the best capture cards available for professional solutions. Before I did NFC systems, I did live streaming professionally, and I helped produce encoders, switchers, that kind of stuff. And I used products from Blackmagic and from Ava and from Magewell was not existent. What's the other guys? Starts with an M. Matrox. And these guys, Magewell popped up. It's like, okay, this is kind of a Chinese website with barely any English instructions, and they've come so far. Firstly, by making an excellent product that just works, and secondly, by supporting it quite well. And they're reasonably priced, although they are very expensive. This is professional grade hardware. I think this is like $400, but that's $400 less than if you were to buy the normal PCI version, which is weird to me because they have the same specs. Anyway, enough talking there. Let's get this little guy installed in one of these slots. And I think that it has the standoffs already built in, which it does. Very nice. So I just have to find myself a little screw.
Anything similar for AMD?
Yeah, they make, I believe, well, I don't know. Maybe. You have to look on their website. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about AMD stuff, but
You have any Asus Z270i you want to get rid of?
no. So you can buy a AMD GPUs for this. I believe they do have a 480 MXM module that's reasonably priced. As far as AMD CPU, again, I don't know if it's out yet or it's going to be out or what. So I can't comment on that. For the cooler, I was going to be using the Zalman CNPS2X, which is my favorite 1U cooler. You can stick a cooler that's taller. The NHL9i actually does fit in this chassis, but it's butted up right against the top panel. So boo, low performance. But the S4T does support the NHL9i and the LP53, which is the highest performing mini ITX cooler in this form factor. So, yay. All right, so this should be pretty simple, I hope. I want to, well, first I should test this. I noticed, this is also really cool, that the back of the stock chassis has these punch outs, which just if I am ridiculously lucky, look at that. It was like it was made for it. That is awesome. Well designed. ASRock, ASRock. I'm going to keep saying ASRock. That's how I've said it forever, so why should I change? It's not the right attitude. Any questions so far? None. No questions so far.
Well,
that's good, because I don't know what I'm talking about. So that would be difficult to answer questions. All right, so I have to figure out how to get this cable up through there. So let's see. Probably have to come around. I'm going to bolt it here first, and then I'll see what's missing. How's that sound, guys?
I'm feeding them to you, but you have the questions.
Well, firstly, it's important to position the motherboard the correct orientation. Gotta share with the class if you're gonna laugh.
How are you gonna mount the HDMI inputs?
Yeah, that's amazing. I am amazed by this. I saw it, and that's why I was like, I have a lazier way of doing this, because I was thinking I was gonna have to make something custom, and this is short notice. This is like they want to do stream obviously for Sunday, and I'm like, thank goodness for Amazon Prime 2-day delivery. Our postal workers are heroes right now. That bent down, and this. Good, good, good. And where's my CPU fan at? All right, right there. Very nice. Gonna swap out the CPU fan anyway. It's just that I need to modify the mounting bracket to make it fit in this particular platform. But this will work for now. All right, so I have my board mounted to my case, and I have the capture card here on the back, and I now need some kind of hard drive. Hard drive. I'll steal one from here. Where did I put my hard drive that I had taken out just for this? Oh, it's in the front. That's right. Well, I'm going to boot it without that, because that means I take another computer apart, and that's outside the scope of this stream. All right, I'm going to put this in, and we're going to see if I have room on the sides. You know, for how chunky this case is, I'm actually really digging it, because it's perfect for this use case. Perfect. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to plug in our HDMI breakout cable. making sure to get the pins right because that would be sad. I have done that before. Oopsie. I want a washer for that. Do I have a washer? That's a big washer. Huh. Let's see what I can do here.
Josh, what do you plan with the ASRock STX motherboards?
What do I plan with them?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my STX board, but not the STX micro STX. I can put them all in the S4T. So the S4T is so special, stands for transform. It has many different transformations it can do, but it supports STX and micro STX and ITX. And it does so through a very cleverly designed frame, which you can move around the standoffs for, and a replaceable I/O, which you can custom order, so you can make sure it fits perfectly in the back. So I have a couple STX boards. I don't know, I'll probably throw them on eBay. I'm only can keep one of them for myself. For my Ryzen system, my APU, I have a 3400G. I'll wait and see if the new top-end APU from AMD is worth it, and if so, I will buy that, and I'll probably use that, continue using that for my Windows desktop PC. If that didn't answer your question, I'm very sorry. You can ask it again. I need to do the Wi-Fi. This system does need Wi-Fi. It comes with these awesome little SATA adapter headers as well, because on top of everything else, it supports 2 SATA drives. This is a ridiculous amount of stuff that this board supports. I mean, it's incredible. It blows my mind. I'm not going to be using SATA for this, I don't think. I'm not going to be using SATA for this. I have a drive, but I don't need to do that. But this has both power and data. This tiny little cable. So cool. Let's see what Wi-Fi module they include for the money.
Andre's asking, is there a companion case for the PCIe cards?
A companion case for the PCIe cards. Clarify, and I shall answer. This is the Intel 3168 NGW. Big box of screw baggies. Yay! That's nice.
Don't go dying on me.
The tiniest little bag. The tiniest little computer. I gotta use my scissors to open it because my thumbs are too big.
Andre says a companion case that serves as an expansion module for the new case.
Yes, you buy 2 of them and they bolt together. They transform and you have a full bezel, and then basically you have an S4 Mini. But it has some extra cool features that people who have been asking for that in the current S4 Mini will get to have, but I didn't want to compromise on the size and form factor of the S4 Mini. If you want to see more about that, you can check out the Patreon page. I have a nice video I put together that goes over all the different combinations or major combinations of hardware and some of the interesting stuff you can do with this case. I will, of course, be letting people know more about it as I get closer to being able to sell them. But that's the basic idea behind it. It's something, there's a lot of things that sound very obvious about the S4T, but it was figuring out how to actually make it work in 3D and not look like garbage and be super easy to install, because that's the whole idea of the Mini. It's the smallest Mini ITX motherboard on the, or case on the planet, that is also super easy to build in, right? There is like stuff like the Velka, and there's smaller cases in terms of overall liters, but the Mini is supposed to be something that I can build in first and foremost. That's why it was developed, was because I was building computer cases or computer systems for people, and it was just way too difficult to build in the current Mini ITX boxes, and they were really big. Now, of course, we have awesome boutique cases that are really small, but still ease of assembly is first and foremost, because yeah, I'm a case manufacturer. I sell cases, but I don't sell a lot of cases. I build computer systems, and that's the bread and butter. So it has to be easy to build in for me. And obviously it's awesome for my customers as well.
Dante is asking if this uses an MXM card.
An MXM card? This uses an MXM card for the GPU. It uses a 1060. My most powerful S4T right now has a 1080 and a 9900K in it. I did burn up the board, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it. All right, how's this gonna bolt to the back? On the sides, I'm gonna go around right here. Cool, I can do that. Knock out some more punches. They really thought of a lot with this computer chassis, I gotta say. Obviously, I am a computer case snob, so I try not to review or comment on other people's computer cases unless, you know, they're a friend or something and I want to cover it for them. But this is, it's nice looking, to be honest. I mean, it's not junk. It has a nice powder coat on it, nice anodized aluminum front. The styling, that's up to you guys to decide whether you like it or not. It's really simple styling, but it's well made. It's not cheesy. Like the metal inside of it, not flimsy at all. Very high quality, very stiff. A nice powder coat too. Very nice powder coat. But what's cool about it is it was really thought out. That's the thing. Like, so many computer cases, the engineers will make the computer case and then no one will test it out or build in it. So actually assembling it or taking it apart is a nightmare.
Somebody's asking about the
I have a tool for this.
S4M cost.
The S4M is my current.
Oh, maybe they're asking about the S4T.
Computer case, and it's like under $200, just under $200. The S4T is going to be less money because I can tell you guys this. This is smaller, so people think it's smaller, it uses less materials, therefore it's cheaper. But really, at this point, at this volume, you're paying for labor, and this has the exact, actually has more parts than the S4 Mini, so it's pretty much the same price to make as the other Mini. But this is like a pet project, sort of like the first Mini was for me, so I'm not going to make a lot of them. I'm going to try to make it a little bit cheaper. And the value proposition is there isn't a case out there that supports all the different motherboards that I'm going to be supporting, and the transformation qualities and the stuff that you can fit in I've already planned for. So it's going to be kind of fun. It's going to be really fun. I'm really excited about this computer case, and I'm really happy that the community kind of inspired me to think about it, because I didn't want to build an APU case. It sounds so boring just to build another APU case, because there's tons of APU cases out there. Then I started thinking about it, well, what about these other motherboards? What about if we combine them or stack them or support little things like tiny radiators or internal liquid cooling or bigger graphics card that's easily to install with a power supply. I was like, this could be a fun computer case to design, so there we are.
Josh, what's your favorite food?
Tacos. No, baby. Thank you. Come on.
Are there RTX MXM cards?
No. Well, that's not true. There are. Right now, all the tier 1 vendors have them, though. So, like, if you go buy a laptop, obviously you can buy a laptop with But if you just wanted to go buy one right now, your best bet would be to go on eBay. That's pretty much your best bet anyway, and find someone who's parting out a gaming laptop. But drivers have gotten a lot better on NVIDIA's side. I don't know about AMD's. For the MXM modules.
Dante. You said tacos. A man of culture.
Indeed. Indubitably.
Are you planning to change out the stock Intel CPU cooler?
Yes. I am. I want to use my Zalman CNPS-2X, but it requires cutting the included backplate because there are some heat sinks on the back of this motherboard that don't work. But right now, the point of this video is just to let people know about this amazing platform and get them hyped and have them buy it all out so they keep making them, because they have some really cool concepts for modern hardware. Plus, I want to see if this is going to fit. And it looks like it mostly is.
I was working on a modular console case for a while, but I stopped when I saw the S4T.
Well, I appreciate that compliment. I mean, it's something I think that we've all been working on for a long time. You know, I don't know how many, literally hundreds of 3D models of cases I have where I just go and design for a couple weeks. But getting something to production level and having it be repeatable and foldable, and it's challenging. And I usually lose steam and lose interest in a project before I get that far. The fun part is, to me, modeling in the computer, throwing the parts around, and just playing that first initial stage, maybe getting to the point where it's rendered out, looks nice, but then it becomes pretty much drudgery as you're going through and optimizing holes and talking about tooling and seeing exactly what can be made how and having to adjust every little thing. And like, you make one little millimeter adjustment here and then it just ripple affects the entire computer case. Ugh. And I made the S4T many years ago, but I came back to it 2 years ago, I think, and had an idea for the backplate. That was the hard part, because you think you could just make the backplate, you just bolt on a backplate. Well, go try it in 3D. Go, actually, if you like to play with CAD and make your computer cases, figure out how you're supposed to take a backplate for a motherboard with, 6mm standoffs and make that fold work, because the bin's gonna be way too close for the cutout for that fold. It becomes it's difficult. It's very difficult. And I had to come up with an interesting solution that I'm proud of, especially because I want to be able to make you guys custom backplates. So I have to be able to do it in my shop, so I can't use a special die to form that. So.
FFF forever. Have you ever thought of a modular S4M that expands in thickness? Replaceable front and back plates to account for 3-slot GPUs and taller heat sinks?
Yes and no. I do not believe that I will be making an S4, a Skyreach 4 Mini or a Skyreach 5 Mini like that. I do want to start making custom cases again at a not astronomical price. Stuff that is formatted to a specific way, and then the customer can say, I want this changed or this changed, and then I can sell you it. And that's one of the reasons I've been investing in all this equipment. So you could possibly order something like that in the future. Like the S3. The S3 style design could be ordered and thicknesses that the customer wants. The S4T does support that. You can stack these side by side. You can stack these on top of each other. You can have stuff back to back. You can run it like a rack. And I've made cutouts and stuff for other cables to kind of intersect and work with all the chassis. So that's the other flip side to this. Guys, this is working amazingly well. Amazingly well. The only question will be if it can clear this, or do I have to do some modding for the heatsink? And do I want to mod the heatsink, or do I want to mod the cable? Only a little taller. But we do have the back, and these little guys, these panel mount is really what it's called, work beautifully, except we do have the fact that they're really long. They're not low profile at all, and they're colliding with the MXN module. So this one, I possibly could cut down the heatsink on this side. This one would interfere with the fan. So what do I need to do? I can modify the top cover and have the cables pop on the top. I consider taking one of these apart. I have done so in the past, and bend them sideways. I think I could test that out. It gets to be difficult because you take a razor blade and you kind of slowly and carefully cut away. And sometimes I found that there's a little board inside of these, like a little PCB board that actually does take up the thickness. And then there's a little teeny tiny solder joints that actually are right at the end. So
somebody's asking if they can order a density, project density.
I don't think you want to order a project density. The idea behind density was it's a computer build. It's not a computer case. There are drawbacks if you want to use it as a computer case. There are better computer cases if you want to use a computer case, like the Dan A4. I think is a great computer case. That's designed so you take your off-the-shelf parts and you put them inside. Density is built around, like skin. It's skin around the computer hardware. And assembling it was an absolute, I won't say it's a nightmare, but it was meticulous. I mean, every little part, every little piece, every little cable had a channel that had to be routed into it. So while I could totally make you just the case and send it to you, you'd be like, what do I do with this? So I don't know. I don't know if people want that. As far as ordering the entire build, I would not do it for under $1,000. Just the labor for making it. It's about a full week's worth of building, at least 8-hour days to make that computer case and assemble it all. And that does include sleeving. So, ish. I don't want to even do it for $1,000. That was a difficult.
Still have a great showcase video.
It was really fun to build, but it was an art project first and foremost. You know, a lot of people were saying, well, how are the temperatures? Well, the temperatures are whatever the video card and the little CPU cooler could handle, right? It's tightly compact in there, so it doesn't get great temperatures. The point is that I got them to run, and I got to run the software the person wanted, and I got to run it quietly. But it's, you know, it's not, I mean, if you have a giant liquid-cooled system, which is usually what you'd use to cool the ridiculous hardware that went into Density, obviously it can perform a lot better. Again, it was an art project, and I'm glad that I did it, but I don't want to do it again. But that's why I released the files. If you don't know, Patreon subscribers, and it only costs $1 to subscribe to Patreon, can download all the 3D files that I used. And if you really want to try assembling it yourself and you really aren't going to ask me warranty questions or how to do it, I really could cut you the panels out.
Josh, do you have any extra Dynamo 360 cables? KMPKT is really busy and isn't really responding at the moment.
Yeah, Craig is totally busy. He did talk last night, and he wanted to know if there was a market to make more 360s. And I said probably yes, because I'm starting to discover how amazing those are. Because I didn't get it at first. I didn't get the product. It was weird to me. Like, why would I want this? It just adds more complexity. But now I totally understand, because the number one use for it, I'll answer your question, no, I don't have any more cables. Moving on, I want him to make more, because the number one use for it is taking something that has like power input like this, like a jack on the back, and powering a graphics card. So I have a couple mods I'm doing for Sapphire. I'm doing a video series, season 4 for them. And one of the mods I want to do has a board, an STX board, and I'm going to use a full-size GPU. I've wanted to do that since I've seen STX boards. And the only way to power those two things together properly and sync them is with that Dynamo 360. So, yeah, I think that he needs to make more. And I'll tell him that you said so. But he wouldn't have cables for it either. I mean, you can email me, and I can see if I can make one for you if I have some time. So just send me an email, and we'll see what you need exactly. But I don't have a magic... I don't want to say I don't have a magical box of compact power supply cables. So maybe I do.
Gerasimos is asking, or excuse me, no, about the Donker. Where did you buy this? I can't find the bare bones kit anywhere.
What? The STX board?
I don't know. I'm gonna ask.
Oh, where is it? It's called Deskmini GTX. And you can't buy the bare bones kit as a... Well, you can buy the case thing. It comes in a box like this. Like this, looks like this. And it comes with the chassis, the motherboard, and the GPU, and the power brick. And I bought that on Newegg. And I looked just the other day, and it looks like they're still selling this model. They have a few left. You might try B&H. They might have a couple left. But obviously this is a niche product, so it's kind of hard to find. But I wanted to purchase the top-end version of these Z390i boards that they have and host them. But it was so expensive to do that. I was like, okay, well, we got to find another way in order to make the boards available so people can buy them easily, so they can put them in S4T. Which is why I'm telling you to go buy these right now.
Ever thought to make a case for submersed system on 3M Novec?
I don't know what 3M Novec is.
I don't either.
Is it that fluid?
I don't know. I'm going to look it up now.
I think it's that non-conductive fluid. But I've always wanted to do a submersed system, but I kind of chicken out.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do a retail case. That was ridiculous. What was that company way back in the day that made that awesome submersed case, like that blew me away? Overkill PC. What was that? The first submersed case. They made everything from scratch. I'm trying to think what it was, but man, inspiring. Way ahead of its time. Today, that you look at that computer system and it's like, wow, that is...
How much would it cost to just let you throw a sky slot design on an SG-13?
Oh man, you'd have to get that water jet cut. And you'd have to have a really tall axis water jet. That would be ridiculous. No. You'd have to... The only way to do that would be make the panel from scratch, really, because you'd have to fold everything back together again. There's no CNC that I know of, that has a Z-axis that tall. You'd have to have a whole new panel made. It could be done. Just as a mental exercise, you're talking like $100 of stainless steel, a lot less for carbon steel. That's what my laser cuts right now. And it would take at least a day for me to remodel that in the computer. So an entire day rate. And then cutting all that stuff out in the laser, that costs money too, electricity-wise. But several $100s. Or simpler, way simpler, you could cut some big holes out the top and sides, and we could just laser cut some acrylic panels and you can bolt them to the sides, which is kind of what we did for that Blake build. So that would be cheap. That'd be very cheap. Did somebody super chat? I see a little box all the way from there. John?
What's that?
Did somebody super chat?
It's fine.
Oh, well, who? I want to give him a shout out.
Luna.
Luna! Good to see you, Luna. Luna's awesome. She's always super chatting. They are super chatting. Super chatter. Okay. Solving this problem. Well, I guess we have to plug in stuff over here from the side. That's like the one thing, is they have two USB on the side. It's hard to complain. They do have a USB 3.0 in the front and a USB 3.0 Type-C, which is pretty great, along with your audio. But then there's two extra USB on the side. But what I could do, they might be out. They might have sold out in the last couple days. You could go to ASRock's website, asrock.com,
ASRock website, that's the other place.
and see if you can call them or email them. A lot of their products are really cheap because they don't have a lot of customer support. They only work with retailers. So if you have a problem with your motherboard, you send it back to the retailer, which is a good thing. I mean, that's why their boards, if you ever wondered why they're so cheap compared to like Asus or something, because they don't do it that way. But maybe somebody will answer and point you in the right direction.
What do you think of a NUC with an eGPU for 1080p gaming? Daniel Hutto.
I would, it's hard to say. I would do that because I think it's awesome. Yeah. But it doesn't make sense. However, their new, what's the latest Skull Canyon board that they have?
Ghost Canyon? Oh.
Not the Ghost Canyon one. The actual, that looks like it's all one thin little thingy. The built-in AMD hybrid GPU they have with it is impressive. And I probably would just game on that, to be completely honest.
Quartz.
I gotta get this header plug back in, and I forgot where it goes. It goes like all the way over here. No, he's got the Rona. So close to having this work out of the box.
Magic Zizu. Do you think it's possible to integrate a water-cooled system in a tiny case?
Depends on your version of water cool and tiny. But you can check out my YouTube channel, NFC Not From Concentrate. YouTube Not From Concentrate, and see all the little tiny cases that I have water cooled. And I have plans for water cooling this. Doesn't make any sense, okay? You'll get the same performance out of air cooling in a case like this. But I have done it, and it's cool. It's interesting. It's neat, and that's why I love doing this. And that's probably why you guys like it as well. All right, let's see if we put this here.
Evo Caddy Productions. I'm in IT and slammed right now with more work than I can handle. I love putting on your videos in the background to watch while I work. Stay safe and keep your head up.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Evo Caddy Productions. Oh, it's the Hades Canyon.
Hades Canyon, yeah, that's correct. I want one of those, but it's kind of like, I don't need it, but I want it. So I keep wanting to go click buy. I'm like, no, you don't need that. You don't need that. However, I may replace my 3400G system for it. My Windows PC is a 3400G. That's what I use. I use Mac for my work because it has Final Cut Pro, and I'm too stupid to learn anything else. So that's what I make all my videos on. So yeah, my current desktop PC is that, and I would consider replacing that with Hades Canyon for playing Age of Kings, which is my go-to game. Obviously World of Warcraft Classic, but also interfacing with the laser, which is really important, and doing other PC type things. I have lots of computers in this office, but that's what I use, that 3400G. I really do like that computer. It's a cool processor. I'm trying to figure out how exactly I want to make this fit. I still don't have an answer there.
Juan Romero, I'm excited for the new case. $5 donation.
Thank you, man.
Mendel, $2 donation. Recap, please. What is the case and the Mobo? Thanks.
Oh, absolutely. This is first of all, thank you.
Mendel.
And this is the Deskmini GTX. The case comes with it. Some people are saying that they can't find any right now. I looked a couple days ago. They still had a few of them left. This is the B250M. This is the oldest version of it. They have up to the Z370 version, but I don't know if that ever was a kit. That might just been the motherboard. But it's called the Deskmini GTX. So if you Google that, you may be able to find one. It was a pet project by one of the engineers at ASRock, and I want them to sell better than they have been selling because I want to see more of them because they're awesome. I don't think that's going to fit in the front, so I got to figure out something to do with this.
Lexiconical.
Maybe in the back?
Donated $2 and would like some advice on adjusting bands on a 32RH. 97 Wrangler 4L. 4 liter.
Adjusting band?
Bands.
Spell that?
Bands. BANDS. On a 32RH. It's a 97 Wrangler 4 liter.
What's a bands?
I don't know.
You said right-hand drive? I don't know.
Lexiconical? Will you elaborate?
Is it a transmission question?
It's a Jeep. Of course it's a transmission.
Golly. Well, do you know what I did? I got rid of pretty much all of the Jeep hardware under the hood because it's all pretty much... I'm not going to say that. It might be called blasphemy. But I have a Chevy drivetrain right now. I do have a Dana 300, and I did rebuild it, but I don't know what transmission parts are called. I'm quite the redneck. I can take something apart, generally speaking, and see how it works, and then say, what is this thing? And then go look up the part. The only thing I had to replace in mine, because everything was still completely solid and the gears looked amazing, was just some of the shims, and it was leaking, so I replaced some of the seals and stuff like that. But I remember taking that whole thing apart. It was kind of cool how that worked.
They help control kickdown and shifting. Basically, I don't have reverse until transmission is warm. Oh.
Bring it over and some beer, and we'll figure it out. But I am not a mechanic. I just
play one on TV.
I just play one on TV. I'm happy and proud that I've had people in my life come and give me that confidence to tear apart my Jeep and build it from complete and total scratch. Every single bolt, every single part, every single gasket and on that vehicle, I had the honor of working side by side with great people and putting it together. And they were good to me because they didn't do it for me. They just sat there, and I kind of knew that if I ever gotten over my head that they'd be there to help. But that's the main thing, I think, is confidence, because before I started doing that, it was like, what am I looking at? This is scary. I don't want to break it. But those are the people, Jeff and Dave, that inspired me to take stuff apart and just not even worry about it. Well, what am I going to do with these guys? I think I'm going to cut them.
Lexi's LMAFO. LMAO. I am skeptic. I think that everyone is going to ARM processors. What do you think?
That's a good, if I was going to offer you investment advice, that would be my, don't take my investment advice. But I agree. I think that's unfortunately the future. I think we can fit these HDMI cables on the side. I'm going to get the plate for that and see what it looks like. Where's my cover? Or what if I did like a really awesome aftermarket cover plate? I want to find my solution before I hang up the stream. You know?
ARM will probably beat Intel before they can catch up.
I do have a brand new B250 board, actually. In case one of you people are interested and you can't get a hold of it, you can contact me and I will sell it to you for whatever the right value is for it. I'm going to take this apart and look at the bottom. Because if it fits on the bottom, I think that's my solution. Yeah, the last thing I replaced that was a bear was the power steering system, the rack, everything in my wife's Pontiac, Montana. And that thing is not meant to drive past 2 years anyway, but you have to drop the cradle and like the front, all the stuff in the front just to get to that. It's ridiculous because the Chevy Venture, which is basically the same van but better because it's a Chevy, you can just pull the power steering rack right out the side after you take apart a couple of steering components. Very frustrating. Yeah, it'll be up. If you go to the playlists, I have a playlist dedicated to streams, so don't clutter the front page, and you can go back and look at my past streams, all of which are not interesting. But I do stuff like this. You know, there may be just enough room.
Is there any danger in using larger gauge wires, 20 or 18, for PSU connections?
Well, 20 and 18 would be smaller gauge. I know it's confusing. 16 is typically the biggest gauge that you use for a power supply. And no, I think you'd be totally fine using a high quality 20 up to 20 gauge wire on a power supply. Typically, it's between 18 and 16. Cheaper power supplies use 18. I don't think there's anything wrong with using 18. Yeah, 16 can be difficult to work with. But 20 would be fine. You're not really using a lot of voltage on the 24 pin, and you have so much amperage spread out over a 6 pin or 8 pin that I would have no problem making a mod with 20 gauge for like a PCI Express cable. If you are like ridiculously overclocking, like LN2 overclocking, then no, I probably wouldn't use 20. I'd probably use 16. But for just standard use, 20 would be fine. All right, so while this will be tricky, my solution is to cut out the bottom and bolt the HDMI. That way I still have the ports in the back and they can be accessed that way. the reason they don't have knockouts from the manufacturer here is because they had to bend the flange to attach everything up, and there is a process, I'm trying to think what it's called in sheet metal, when you cut out along the edge of a bend. There's a fancy word for it, but you don't want to do that if you can help it. But I can do that with a Dremel, so that is what I'm going to do. So these HDMI ports will fit in the back, and I'll be able to access it no problem. I just wish I didn't knock out these now, but that's okay because I can just make a nice pretty acrylic back plate and put a logo or something on it. Not a big deal. In fact, what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to chop this entire piece out. It'll be easier to do it that way with a Dremel. Boom. Let's put them side by side to see if I have room. I just need to clear that rivet. I'll have to cut this out and cut this out, which is support back bracketry for the drive, the 2.5-inch drive. I could come over here, actually. Yeah, I'm going to come right here. And that way I can just laser cut a piece of steel out and bend that and bolt that to it. So that's my solution.
Josh, will you have components available to make the S4T usable as a Thunderbolt enclosure sidecar for the S4M?
I'm trying to source the components for that. If you want to help and send me emails, I'm trying to find manufacturers.
Ask that.
Well, if you want to send me an email, basically it should be easier now that Intel loosened their Thunderbolt certification. It's now supposed to be an open standard, but it's Intel. I'm using a lot of air quotes, but it's still very difficult. So right now I'm basically finding other manufacturers that manufacture Thunderbolt docks, and I'm saying, hey, can I license or buy this from you? Can you make more for me so I can put it into the S4 Mini? But they're being ridiculous. They're basically charging me the price of the case. So we'll be able to make it work, but at what cost?
Do you think it would be possible to mill a solid aluminum case, all one block of metal?
Not me. Not me. Bill Owen has done it, but not me. That's kind of an interesting question, though, because the CNC cases, like the Loki Ghost and the Mjolnir case and the big one, is that Circle Pro? They're CNC'd. And it's becoming a popular thing, and people associate CNC with quality. But I think quality has to do with the details, not the process. One of those cases I think is really well done. The other two I'm not a fan of. I'm not going to say which because I don't want to like smear anybody's computer cases, but it comes down to the details and not the process so much. Process is important, but I don't like CNC'd cases. The manufacturer that works with me on the Mini actually came to me and said, hey, you should do a CNC Mini case because you're at this price point anyway, and people will love it. So I designed one. I was like, this is big, it's heavy, it's slightly more expensive, and it has less room in it. And all those things together were not appealing to me. And worst of all, you have that bead blast aluminum in the anodizing, and when those bead blasted parts touch each other, they make that chalkboard feeling to me, and I hate that. So I'm going to be sticking with tempered aluminum, anodized tempered aluminum sheet metal. Well, I am done with this. So to wrap things up, my solution to using these stock breakout cables is going to be cutting a stainless steel part out on the laser and cutting a chunk out of this and then attaching with 2 rivets, and then I'll have a nice, beautiful looking bracket. Because unfortunately, I can't use the panel mounts on the back because the cables are so long, they interfere with the GPU cooler. And instead of hacking the GPU cooler up in the back, which I could do, I'm gonna just keep all the cooling intact. So this is going to go to church streaming. I'm going to install Windows and stuff on it now, which is boring. So I'll answer any final questions, but it was awesome to be able to talk to you guys again. So, last questions. I gotta wait like 20 seconds for the buffer, probably.
Super chat war. Last super chat wins. Hans Tang, $5. Thank you, Hans. We appreciate the momentum.
He's a good man. You know, I could be really clever. I could drill out these rivets that are used to attach the back to the inner chassis frame and then reuse those holes to bolt my new bracket on. That could be cool. I think I'll do that.
What do you think about the Streetcom DA2?
I'd have to look on my phone and see what model that is because they have so many of them. But I probably won't say what I think about a computer case if I don't like it. Wait, that reveals that I wouldn't like it. Streamcom DA2. Oh, this case. I have not built in this case, so it would not be fair for me to comment on it. All right, if there's no more questions, I will see you guys later. Thank you for joining me on this stream. I hope that you guys stay safe, and I will have more produced content shortly. We've been really busy making a lot of cool stuff. So, yeah. All right, peace, guys. John can cut the stream whenever. Maybe I'll go. Unless there's any last questions. No? Yes? And bye-bye. Thanks, Super Chat people.